It's me, Zenobia, darling. You're listening to hashtag Rockstar Life, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at?
Ooh, what's up, guys? It's me, Zenobia, darling. I'm coming at you today on a very interesting Tuesday. It is a little after 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and I woke up and the freaking Key Bridge in Baltimore, like literally near my, like not near my house, a main bridge that I see almost every day is in the water, and it collapsed. So I figured, let's talk about it. Let's go into it. I'm on spring break this week from work, so I've really been just like, smoking weed like a damn choo-choo and painting my little ass off. I probably have about, 8 new large-scale paintings that I've currently been working on, and they're really good. They're some of my best work yet. I'm just working on my portfolio, just working on elevating my artwork again, and just kind of, when I'm naturally very introverted, even though I can act as an extrovert, and when I need to just decompress, I just retreat from everything, and I've been painting. So it's been very lovely. So I figured I was going to give you guys an espresso shot this episode too. So I did one of those question poll things on Instagram just to figure out what you guys wanted me to talk about. And so I got some of the questions. This was about a few weeks ago. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. If you want to pose your questions to me, you can always message me. But I have a few of the questions that I was going to answer. But before we get into it, so I woke up today and I'm scrolling Instagram and I keep seeing all these videos of of a ship hitting the Key Bridge in Baltimore over the Texaco River, and it collapsed. And I'm sitting there like, holy shit! Like literally just last Thursday, I was driving to work and I took the Key Bridge. Something told me to take the Key Bridge. 95. Through the Fort McHenry and the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel was backed up. And I was like, you know what? It's a nice day. Let's go over the Key Bridge and just enjoy the moment and just enjoy the beautiful day. And I did. And it was, because it's kind of out of the way, but you get really good skyline views of Baltimore. And it's water. It's very it has a little bit of urban grit to it, but that area. But it's a nice little drive. Because I had to drive to Catonsville, and I'm on the eastern side of Baltimore. So, I drove on it, and something told me to do it, and I'm really happy I did because, of course, I'm very happy I wasn't on the bridge when it collapsed. But and also no one really takes that bridge at night. Like most people, the tunnels are good in the middle of the night. So a lot of times you just stay on 95, but if this happened at 9:30 on a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning, it'd be a shit show. So it's really crazy to me because that is I really go through and mainly I focus on the bridges and Havre Grace in my artwork, but something always told me I should paint the Key Bridge, and I have photographed it before. A lot of times when I'm in the passenger seat driving, or when I'm being driven, I'm in the passenger seat, I will have my camera with me because I like to take urban driving shots and just kind of get some of the graffiti and stuff like that. And this summer I was with my mom on my way to my sister's house, which she lives down in DC on the other side of Baltimore. So we took that way because, again, when traffic's bad through the tunnels, you take the Key Bridge. That's just how it is in Baltimore. And I had my camera and we got to see a beautiful sunset going over it. And I took some shots of it driving up to it, which you usually see as the cover art. But it's just crazy to me because the bridge is gone. It's in the fucking water. And, I saw where they still have some rescue people. They still trying to rescue people that have fallen. There's a construction crew. Some really crazy shit. But at the same time, I'm a comic and I can't help but make jokes about it. Because the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, Mothman missed a prime opportunity to come to Baltimore. I mean, and this is the other thing about that. I had Mothman is my favorite cryptid, and the legend of the Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia was he was seen for 13 months leading up to the Silver Bridge collapse on the Ohio River. So, he kind of comes from the TNT area, and people saw him. I believe it was fall of 1967 up until 1968 when the bridge collapsed, or 1969. So I forget the exact timeline, but he was seen. It was a a black-winged hominoid with glowing red eyes, and he was seen flying around. And then the last time he was seen, he was on top of the Key Bridge. But in indigenous mythology of both North America, Asia, and Africa, I've done the research. The Mothman legend is actually found in there as this dark fallen, not so much as this like dark angel that come to warn people of upcoming disasters. So the whole time I'm sitting here, I'm like, Mothman, you missed a prime opportunity to come to Baltimore. You really did. Although at the same time, people in Baltimore don't talk about like, you know, we got, what is it, Stitches Get Stitches or something. And I don't think people, I mean, I definitely think it's still too early to have people talk about it. But I wonder if Mothman was seen around the Key Bridge over the past few months. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he was. I know there's sightings of Mothman coming out of O'Hare Airport, of all things, in Chicago. But I don't think there's really been Mothman in Baltimore. But I mean, I think Mothman should be in Baltimore. I mean, I love him, and, you know, I'm a Baltimore Mothman, so, but yeah, it's crazy. I'm waking up to it. I'm like, holy shit. Like, you know, and then I saw where one of my friends who, like, you can see the bridge from his house. He posted what it was like last week when he took a picture and what it was like this week. And I mean, the freaking bridge is gone. It's fucking gone, collapsed in the river. It's done. I mean, it's just crazy. It's so mind-blowing to me. And then also, I feel like it goes into it. I mean, America has a lot of aging infrastructure. And even though the bridge, you know, the governor said the bridge has a lot of, it passed inspection. A lot of these bridges, you know, they've been around a long time and people act like they're solid. And you see where one little shipping container ship and it hits a piling and down goes the bridge like a block of Legos. So, you know, it's nuts to me. It's absolutely nuts. But okay, let's get into it. Also, I was going to talk about this full moon in the retrograde. It is pretty intense. I've been feeling it. I've been really, I don't know, just something. I can feel like there's some endings and I'm waiting for the new beginnings. And that's the thing that I'm not being impatient about it. I'm just trying to surrender to the universe and be like, okay, this is what it is. And that's it. So, it's been interesting, but I know I'm feeling it. So let's get into some of these questions. I know that I want to talk about the Valley. I want to talk about quiet on set. So those two things people have been asking me about. And then I just have like two random questions. So let's get into it. So first up, let's see, The Valley. Thoughts on The Valley? Oh my God. I actually really like it. I didn't think I would because I don't want children. I don't like children. They're not my thing. And I don't know. I wasn't exactly feeling The Valley just because, like, I don't know. I don't want to see these people like with kids. I feel like it's a lot of that bullshit. It's a lot of Jax Taylor gaslighting us that he's this like moral upstanding character, which he's not. We all know who Jax is. So I went into it and I was like, I don't know. And then I watched the episode of Vanderpump Rules with Jax in it, and I was like, okay, like, I miss Jax. Like, I miss this Jax Taylor. Definitely fucking nuts. Freaking crazy, narcissistic, just dumb, horny ape. Still the same Jax that we have been dealing with since season 1 of Vanderpump Rules, only he looks way different now. You know, and he's had a lot of plastic surgery, which I also am going to clock too. But yeah, I wasn't into the whole motherhood and like, and the childs of it all, the children, which, you know, I'm not a kid person. They annoy me. I don't want kids. I don't subscribe to that life. But I find it really fascinating that Jax and Kristen are the same idiots they've always been. The same nut jobs, messy people. And then I also knew that, so when they initially dropped the trailer, I was like, this is not, what is this shit? Like, I'm not down for this. And then they dropped a different trailer where they showed some of the drama that's going to happen this season. I was like, okay, that's the show. That's the show I want. Miserable people in miserable relationships just being ridiculous. When Kristen on one of the previews was like, when you're in your 20s, you like go to bars and you're living the city life. We're in our 40s now, so we live in the Valley. And I want to be like, bitch, You were 30 fucking 2 when you started Vanderpump Rules. Like, let's be real. You were not in your fucking 20s. Okay, stop. Like, really, you were in your fucking 30s during season 1, 2, and 3 of Vanderpump Rules, where you were on your fucking worst mental health issues. Like, when you were fucking your worst. So, like, it's ridiculous. You and Jax fucked twice. You both cheated on people. You were in a relationship with Tom Sandoval for 5 years in the most unhealthiest, toxic relationship I've ever seen. Just ridiculous. And I remember there was the episode where Sandoval took Kristen to a Korean barbecue place, and Kristen's a vegan. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, it makes no fucking sense. No fucking sense at all. And it's just, you can just see how these people they haven't evolved. And but this is the thing. That's the shit I want to see on Vanderpump Rules. I don't want to, and the Valley also. I'm not watching this to see people living aspirational lives and being peak wellness. I want them to be stagnant, messy people who just keep fucking up. There's just a lot of theater involved in it. And also, I wasn't about it because I don't want to watch people in hetero hell. Like, I'm gay. I don't subscribe to like traditional relationships or what they're trying to portray on the Valley. They're all in hetero hell, and I want nothing to do with it. And I also love all the gaslighting that we're getting with Jax and Brittany's relationship. I find that so ridiculous. Like, do we have to go back and remember that Jax proposed to her at Neptune's Net on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, like a fast food seafood place. And the whole time he's like yelling at the workers to give him a tray. And then he does it in front of people. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he's like, oh, I got to shit in the Uber. And he's looking like a mess. And he's like sweaty and just like, it's ridiculous. And Brittany's like, oh, Jax, I love you, Jax. Ah. And Brittany, let's get into Brittany because I could clock her a mile away. Famously, she's from Kentucky, and she set her sights on Jax, and she moved out to LA, and it's like, you knew who this man was. You knew who this man is, I should say, and I'm just not, I know they're getting divorced because, like, am I shocked? No, they're crazy. They have, like, such a horrible relationship, and I'm not going to sit there and be gaslit that they're, like, they're like upstanding moral characters in this healthy, perfect relationship, because they're not. Jax famously cheated on her with Faith in season 6 and like cheated on her in the same room as a woman who was dying on hospice. Do we not remember that? Like, and also Jax made her, like, first thing he had her do, paid for her boob job, and Jax made her get those huge boobs that I don't know, her back hurt. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I'm not, like, I don't know. And I'm glad that production is also trolling Jax a little bit. Like, I really like that. Like, they're in on, like, hey, like, we know who these people are. But yeah, it's all of that. It's all of that. And this is also something else with Vanderpump Rules and the Valley that I find very fascinating, is these people have very, like, set ways of life that, and these, like, bench posts that are no, like, benchmarkers of what they should be achieving. Like, they should be in a relationship. They should be engaged. They should get married. They should have kids. They should buy a house. They should do, and it's like, you can see that's hetero hell to me. And they should be in the monogamous, but, like, they're not, Jax is fucking miserable in a monogamous relationship. I'm sure Jax cheated on Brittany. Like, we don't know it yet, but I'm sure that happened. And I don't know. Like, it's just a lot to me, and I'm over it. Like, I'm just, but I'm glad. I kind of like it. I don't know. Like, they're just messy. And I like the cast of characters because they're all in that same vein. Like, they all, like, I could see them on Vanderpump Rules like 10 years ago, and now I can see them in the Valley, and they're not, I can definitely tell that they have some, like, unresolved bullshit that they are definitely needing to work out, which, yeah, I don't know. I was watching, so trying to prepare this episode, I was watching Access Hollywood with Jax and Brittany and Kristen. So I thought I would play it for you because I don't know. It's just like, you can tell they're fighting, and Brittany's just like, I don't care, I'll talk about it. And Jax just peak hypocrisy at its best.
I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room because we have three of us. Kristen, you're in the middle. Brittany and Jax. How are you guys doing? What's an update on the two of you?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
She's asking me and Brittany.
Oh,
Yeah.
To be honest, we're separated. I personally just don't want to talk about any of that. We're separated right now, and that's my personal life. On that part, I just kind of want to keep that aside, unfortunately.
Well, I'll talk about it.
I was going to say, Brittany, you're also in a
I don't want
marriage.
to bring it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we just haven't been getting along for a very long time, and I deserve to be happy, so I decided to take some time and have some alone time for a while we figure things out. I'm proud of myself for being strong and doing what I feel like is right for myself.
A lot of fans, I know you don't want to talk
Oh, please. That's my personal. Jax, you're on a fucking reality show. You're not I don't know. You're not an A-list celebrity. You're Jax Taylor from Vanderpump Rules. Stop being such a fucking tool. This shit, that pissed me off. Oh, that's my personal life. I don't want to talk about it. Shut the fuck up. Jax, you are a reality star. That's all you are. You've been bartending up until you're like 40, and now because you're on this new show, you're acting like you're this A-list star. You're fucking not. You're Jax motherfucking Taylor. Like, you signed up for a reality show that deals with your personal life. Don't sit there and tell people, oh, that's my personal life, I don't want to do it. Like, fuck you, you idiot, you dumb ape. And I love Brittany like, well, I'll talk about it. I'm going to be happy. Do I think that some of this breakup is a little bit of publicity? Am I shocked? No, I'm not shocked. Like, do I trust Jax Taylor for this stuff? No, I do think that there is a level of fame whoreness to him, and that he would do something like that to drive ratings. And since Scandival, everybody's trying to. You saw Kyle Mauricio kind of doing it, and then they've been edging us all season for nothing. And then you got to freaking go to Netflix to Buying Beverly Hills to see what that is. I think that's a crock of shit. I think Kyle should be fired for it, honestly. Let's get into Beverly Hills just real quick. Kyle should be fired because I don't like that. You're giving everything on a non-Bravo show, but you edged us out all season for nothing. And then I saw where last night she's posted stuff like save a horse, ride a cowgirl, posted on Morgan's thing. The thirst is real. Kyle, I don't give a fuck if you're a lesbian or not. Just come out. This is something else that I'm just going to say because I've been dealing with my personal life. There is still such a level of internalized homophobia within people, and people are not okay with being gay still. And it's just come out. Just be honest with yourself. Just everyone can, if you're being that open about a flirtation with someone of the same sex, just be open about it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just own it. It's one of those things. And it's I'm feeling this a lot with Kyle. It's just fucking own it. No one cares if you and Morgan are in a relationship. I'm glad that you found someone like that. Just knock it off because it's ridiculous. Yeah, but I just love that. Oh, that's my personal life. Fuck you. Just go away. Go away. So wrapping up on the Valley, one thing I did want to talk about, because I'm the exact same way, is Jax Taylor was well, I go to the A&P because I need that trucker coffee. I need that truck stop coffee. Yes, Jax, I do. That is a very I'm okay, Jax, I see. And then he goes, well, I gotta drink the coffee that if I have to up and run to Florida in 2 days and drive straight there, I can do it. And I'm like, why would you be doing that? Because you're shady as fuck. That's something about Jax is he has a level of criminality to him, and he has a level of he's got to be on the run and be kind of flighty because God knows what's going to happen. And the truck stop coffee, I'm that tells me everything about you. But at the same time, I agree. I mean, I do make my own coffee a lot of times, but I love Wawa coffee. I love Rofo coffee. I love 7-Eleven coffee. I love Sheetz coffee. I love gas station coffee, and I know what type of coffee he's talking about. He's got to get up and go, and I appreciate that. And there is something, I will say this, because there's something about gas stations, coffee, and there's something about places you can buy cigarettes and coffee that they always go together. So they always have really good, strong coffee. And what do truckers do? A lot of truckers are chain smokers, and a lot of them drink jet fuel black coffee. And And they go good together. And I'm like, Jax, I see you. Jax, I wake up and go to the gas station. And also I'm like, he's cheating on you. He's probably cheating on you, Brittany. He's probably out doing stuff. And he could be cheating on you with guys and girls. So I'm just going to say that, allegedly. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Valley. I will be watching. I am very excited for it. It should be a good ride. I especially love that they have a fight in the hallway. Kristen's like, I'd much rather be on Vanderpump Rules. It's like, bitch, you got fired. You got motherfucking fired because you're crazy. So it's just, I'm so happy Kristen Doute is back on my screen. I fucking love Kristen Doute. Like, she just is she's such perfection.
All right, ad break. I gotta pay for all this damn coffee I'm drinking and tea I'm spilling. It's me, Zenobia, darling. So, as many of you know, I'm more than just a podcaster, stand-up comic, and drag queen. I'm also a very accomplished painter and photographer, and you can check it all out on ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. I have an art blog on there sponsored by the Harford County Cultural Arts Board, and just all my paintings, photography. You get podcast stuff. I have an art film that premiered in September that you can buy on there too. So make sure you check it out. It supports me, supports the podcast. All right, so let's get back to the podcast.
Okay, so real quick before we get into Quiet on Set, one of the questions you guys had was, what is my favorite grocery store? Oh my God. I was like, okay, I'm a huge grocery shopper. I love going grocery shopping. I actually went yesterday. My favorite is probably Wegmans. I love Wegmans. I think because I have that New Yorker, New Jersey boy in me. And Wegmans is very Northeast specific. And it's just a fine shopping experience that I love Wegmans. I go to Wegmans. I got really good prosciutto that was on sale yesterday. I made myself a hoagie with it. It was so good. What else? I got some, I got some mushroom ravioli with vodka sauce. That was really good. I love Wegmans. And I also really like their sparkling water. I get like 3 cases at a time. And I pick flavors. Right now I really like their watermelon. I also got their blackberry tangerine and their pineapple orange. And it's cheap and it's flavored water. And I sit there and drink like 4 cans a day because I love it. Like I love Wegmans. Another one, this is more if I'm missing LA. I will go to Sprouts. I do really like Sprouts. One of my good friends, we always would go to Sprouts together, and it's something I really miss about him and really love about him. And I know it's just a blast. So, it was always something special I did with that guy. And I hope to do it again one day. But, this retrograde and this full moon needs to just kind of illuminate things in the universe is all I'll say about that. But, yeah, I normally go to Sprouts if I'm missing LA because it gives me that vibe. So it's between Sprouts and Wegmans. So occasionally I'll go to Lidl with my mom, but it's not my fave. I wish we had a Trader Joe's closer in Harford County. I think the nearest one to me is Towson. And that's just in typical Trader Joe's parking lot, it's super busy. I mean, and just typical Trader Joe's fashion. The parking lot's a shit show. The store's too small for the amount of people in there. So there's also that with Trader Joe's, but I do wish we had Trader Joe's close by. So yeah, so there you go. So my favorite grocery store. Okay. So one thing that I have been watching and really analyzing and absorbing over the past week was Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids television. And they really go into Nickelodeon and some of the behind the scenes shit on set where it wasn't the safest environment for kids and some of the level of abuse and just gross bullshit that that little kids had to deal with. So I was watching it, and this is the other thing about it is I have known about a lot of the stuff that they were talking about for years. It was kind of an open secret, and I also follow a lot of like gossip channels. There's a dude on YouTube named Sloan who I've been following for a few years. He's been talking about it since then, and we've all known Dan Schneider is not the most morally upstanding character. We've known that for years. And, I remember when Me Too happened, he was one of the ones I was like, okay, when's he coming? Because, Jeanette McCurdy kind of alluded to it in her book, which I love her book. I love Jeanette McCurdy. And there's just some things where I'm like, this person is not who he says he is. And this person has a level of, I don't know, abuse of power that he has, a little bit of an egotism. And, you know, but also I don't know. It just, there's a lot. There's just a lot with it. And I'm just, I don't know. It's been a while that, oh yeah. And with it, I wish Wendy was around for this. Like, this is one of those, another moment where I really wish Wendy Williams was around to talk about it, because there's a lot there to dissect, and there's a lot there that I wish Wendy would talk about, because Wendy would actually be talking about it and be talking about a lot of, you know, and I remember watching all that. Like, growing up, like, I used to always watch a lot of these Nickelodeon shows, and I would, like, emulate them because I wanted to perform. I wanted to be on camera. I wanted to do theater, and I would always, like, I remember on all that, there was a skit where they would parody Oprah. And I would kind of do that with my siblings, and I would always be that Oprah figure, and I would always want to perform like that. And that was where, and like, I love the Amanda Show, and I love, like, the theater involved with it. I love the acting, the improv, all that stuff. It really, like, you know, cemented that in my mind. I remember my family didn't get it. I mean, my family doesn't really understand performing like that, but I always knew that that's kind of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to get into. And I would do it just to play around it and, like, have fun with it. So that's where it's really hard for me, because it's like, there was a dark side to it, and there was a dark side to a lot of these people. And a lot of these kids were getting abused, you know, physically, sexually, verbally, emotionally. And there also was a lot of racism. I remember seeing Little Fetus, the all that skit, and being like, what the fuck is this? It's weird. Like, you know, there was always something where, and then I remember watching the Amanda Show with Penelope Taint, and my mom being like, what is her name really Penelope Taint? I was like, yeah, isn't it funny? And she was like, that's kind of weird. And, like, I didn't know what a taint was. But I remember my mom having, like, a weird reaction to it, and she just was like, okay, like, you know, and also my family was also very big, like, oh, that's not appropriate for kids, you can't watch it, and I would still watch it, and I didn't care. So, you know, I was watching Sex and the City in elementary school, and, you know, my mom would be like, you can't watch it. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm watching it anyway. And I did it anyway. Because I remember we had a black box and we're pirating HBO back then. And I would watch it. I'd watch that and The Sopranos. I loved it. And I know what I like back then. I mean, that's why I'm like, it is what it is. And I don't know. And, like, so apparently there was 3 pedophiles on set. That's fucking disgusting, Nickelodeon. Like, you dropped the ball. Like, it's just, and then the whole thing with Drake Bell, I knew Drake Bell, like, would be coming. Like, he was having some drama with Sloan, and it's like we kind of figured out it was Drake who was abused by that was abused by that Peck guy, not his cast member or castmate on Drake and Josh, but another dude who was, like, a set coach. And then I love how they called out all the celebrities who, like, wrote letters to the judge asking for leniency. Like, they called those motherfuckers out. James Marsden, Taram from SNL, I think his name was, and just a few other people, and they called them out. And I was like, this is great. But I mean, it's the truth, you know? It's like, so I remember when that documentary came out about the Catholic sex abuse bullshit. I remember that. I remember this afterwards. The same director was going to do one in Hollywood, a documentary on it. It was going to be called An Open Secret, about the number of pedophiles in Hollywood, and how there's this thing where people get like, oh my God, my kid's a star, make my kid a star. And they get so blinded by the fame and the money and all that stuff. And these casting agents who are pedophiles, not all of them are pedophiles, but a lot of them are, they play into that. And so they put their kids in situations you wouldn't normally put your kids into. And I remember she had that, and she couldn't find a distributor. So she released it on, like, you know, Venmo or whatever the hell it's called, or like YouTube, and you can find it. It's called An Open Secret. But because of the industry, and that's a lot of the darkness in Hollywood. Like, people, you know, I see a lot of these weird conspiracy theories where it's like, oh, these elites. I'm like, no. It's not like they're not kidnapping babies to drink their blood. Like, there legitimately is an element of sex trafficking and pedophilia in a lot of these people, and it's more blatant than it's not, like, as farcical as a lot of these conspiracy theories make it. Like, you know, and also when people have sexual trauma like that, it causes their brain to break. Like it causes PTSD, and you're going to see people like I'm just going to say this, like I love Amanda Bynes, but I mean, clearly she has been, something broke her brain. Like, I'm just going to say that, like, I always say when it comes to stuff like this, and also I'm not a mental health professional, so do take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I remember watching Amanda, and like, there is a level of genius to her, and with genius does come a level of not crazy, but just, as Wendy said it, a little bit of a tick. And also, when you're put in these abusive situations, like I do think Amanda was put in some of these weird situations of being a child star and what she had. And I do think that tick can kind of really short circuit. And I think that's kind of what happens to Amanda. I mean, I love Amanda Bynes. I think she is one of the funniest, most talented. I wanted to be on the Amanda Show. I wanted to be Amanda growing up, and I always admired her. And it was one of those things where, like, this whole thing is just, it makes me sad what happened to her. And it makes me sad that she's in such a mentally unwell place that now she is what she is. I don't know. I was on YouTube and I found, so I follow her and I'm like, I don't know who this person is now. Like, this is not the Amanda that was in Easy A, that was in Hairspray, that was in all those movies that I love. And I don't know, it's weird. And it's just sad. And it's really dark. Like,
It's the nail salon I'd like to rent a booth at when I get my manicurist license. Paola and Michelle did the best job on my nails. They turned out incredible. I absolutely love them. Oh my God. Check out the nail salon and beauty lounge, Hollywood Beauty Lounge in Hollywood. And definitely go to Paola and Michelle to get your nails done.
Like, that was something that was posted on, I don't know, on her YouTube page where she's doing these things, and now she's all about being a nail technician. And I'm like, Amanda, what do you, and she like has this monotone way of talking. Her hair is giving me Eileen Wuornos vibes. She definitely bleached it. And then she'll be like, I wear a wig. I'm going to wear wigs. And she goes, I'm not going to wear a wig, like 3 weeks later. And I'm like, okay, like, maybe you should put the camera down and focus on your healing and wellness. But at the same time, Amanda, you do you, girl. You do you. So that's that with Amanda. It's just like a girl. And her hair, this like, I don't know. And she's all about being a nail technician. And she had that, what was it? She had a podcast. She was going to do a podcast, did one episode. And I'm like, Amanda, what happened to your like the talent's still there, but you can tell like something's off about the way she speaks. And it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like she's like really medicated in a way, but at the same time, like, I don't know if that's medication. I think that might be her personality now. But at the same, I'm like, you used to host your own show. You should be able to host a podcast. And then apparently she was on there with some non-binary person who killed a dog. Like, I was watching that and I was like, what? And then after the first episode, she's like, I'm only doing one episode, and now she wants to be a nail technician. And I'm like, and then she was found wandering naked around LA and put on a 72-hour psych hold at Cedar Sinai. I'm like, girl, like, I wish Amanda Bynes the best. I really do. I want her to come back. Will she come back? I don't know. I do think she might be a little too far gone, but it just makes me sad. It just really makes me sad. And I was not shocked by anything about Quiet on Set. I really wasn't. I've known all that stuff. Drake Bell, I do think, it does illuminate a lot of his behaviors, because he does have some issues with the law, and he does have some issues being sexually inappropriate with women, especially underage women, allegedly. But, it does kind of illuminate that. I'm not justifying that that's right, but it also says like, he's struggling. You can tell he's someone that has been victimized, and how that has affected him and how it's affected his current behaviors. And I think that's something to look at. And people can be really good and really bad at the same time. And they can be both of those things, and you have to have space for that. And that's something that, I wish him all the best. I'm very happy. I just want to commend him, because it takes a level of bravery to come out and speak about that, especially being a non-queer, non-gay identifying person. I mean, he is straight. He's been married to women, like, you know, and talking about sexual abuse with a guy. I mean, there is a level of internalized homophobia and shame that comes with that. And you can tell that he's really like fighting it because, you know, and I don't know, I feel really bad for him and I wish him the best. So that will be that. Okay, here's another question. Most recent reality show you've been watching? Well, I just recently did a complete rewatch of the one season. There's only one season. It's a one season wonder. They're the best reality shows of Mob Wives Chicago. I talked about it a little bit last week. I will be doing a full deep dive into Mob Wives Chicago for an Espresso shop probably in the next few weeks. Oh, it's good. Definitely. It's just, I bought it on Amazon. It was like $14. Just buy it. It's so worth it. It's so fucking crazy. I love it. I love Mob Wives. I really do. So, I don't know. So, I'm going to end it because someone messaged me if I was watching the new Martha Stewart documentary. Apparently, it's on, I don't know if it's on Peacock, but Martha Stewart has a documentary out called The Many Lives of Martha Stewart. And I watched it. It's like 4 episodes, and it goes through basically the rise of Martha Stewart. And I really loved it. So this is something that, I mean, I think most people can tell. I fucking love Martha Stewart. I've always loved her. My grandmother would always watch her. I think she is one of the greatest. And I really identify with her. That's the way, like I always say, I'm an old lady at heart, and Martha Stewart is who I like, who comes out of me. Like, she's very handy. She's very, like, she does a lot of arts and crafts. She knows presentation. She just lives an aspirational life and is unabashed about it and just talks about it. And it's beautiful. And so I watched it, and I just want to say, Martha Stewart, like, bitch is an OG. Bitch is a gangster. She went to fucking jail. Like, ooh. So, and, like, Martha Stewart is one of those people where I love it because you think, who is this, like, older white lady from Connecticut? But then also have to remember, she got street cred, you know? And it's like, she's also been vilified in the early 2000s. I remember all that scandal and all that bullshit she had to go through. And it's crazy. And it really goes through her comeuppance. It really shows, like, you know, she was a catering person in Connecticut and ran her own stuff out of her kitchen and in her house. And, you know, and then she published her first books, Martha Stewart Entertaining, Martha Stewart Christmas. I remember those books. My grandmother had them, and I love those books. They're beautiful. And I really appreciate it because she looks at all that stuff as artwork. She looks at, like, the presentation of her cranberry tort as artwork. And that's the way she goes about life. And that's something I really identify with. And she's unashamed about how aspirational she is. Like, that's something else that I fucking love about her. And it does talk about, like, and, you know, how she got Martha Stewart Living, the magazine, which translated into a TV show, which I used to watch all the time. It just, like, I don't know, Martha Stewart, I fucking love her. And she did go to jail. She went to Alderson for 5 months. I think that it was really, like, I mean, the bitch went to jail. You don't expect Martha to go to jail, but the bitch went to jail. And she came out, and you can tell, like, she is, I don't know, I just think she's the greatest. And there was a moment, so after I watched the documentary, I was just kind of going through clips with Martha because she just, like, I don't know, they were playing a clip right when everything happened where the FBI started looking into her for insider trading, which I will say, our political elite do the same. Nancy Pelosi does the same fucking thing. So does Mitch McConnell. Our ruling political elites, they do insider trading all the time. I mean, you can follow. This is not me making conspiracy theories up. This is the actual truth. You can go on Twitter and find the accounts where people kind of study what they're doing in the stock market compared to what's actually happening in the news with different companies. And these people do it. So that's why I'm like, Martha Stewart went to fucking jail for something that Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell do openly. And I think that's fucked up. So I'm just going to say that, not spewing. It's not a conspiracy theory. I don't spew those, but that is, like, something that is a reality that I think needs to be looked at. But so she was on the early show when all that shit was happening, making a salad, and it's just so iconic.
Statement saying that you were not involved in any insider trading, but you have.
Let's talk about a now infamous incident. You used to be a regular contributor on the CBS early show, and in June of last year, you were on that show. You know what I'm going to say. Prepare.
And this is her interview with Barbara Walters.
More focus on you and this
Chopping a cabbage. Now, you must have known that you were going to be asked about that case, but instead you kept chopping that darn cabbage. To many people, this seemed hostile and defensive, and the picture of Martha Stewart with a knife in her hand, vigorously chopping that cabbage. Why did you chop that cabbage?
I was afraid you might remind me of that incident, and to tell you the truth, I have not been able to chop a cabbage since. No more coleslaw for me.
Did you realize how it looked?
No, absolutely not.
And I want to focus on my salad because
That's why
one more question about
I'm
this.
task-oriented, and I was making a salad, and it got out of hand.
You said in that program, I think
This
this
will all be resolved in the very near future, and I will be exonerated.
I know that ridiculousness.
I love it. I love it. I just want to focus on my salad. Chop, chop, chop. Like, I don't like. So there also was I think it was a Lifetime movie about Martha Stewart and like Martha Stewart Inc. And I think some famous actress played it, and it was so campy. And it's like Martha Stewart has that ability. I just want to focus on my salad. Like you just like. And then the way, and when she talks, she has like a Paris Hilton-esque vibe to her. I really get that. And she's like, thank you for, I'm glad you reminded me of that. And it's, it's one of those things where I'm like, that's why I appreciate her. Like, she just like, I don't know. Like, that was such an iconic moment. And she's like, it'll be resolved favorably for me and I'll be safe of all that ridiculousness. Well, bitch, you spent 5 months in a federal jail and you spent another few months on house arrest. So I'm just like, it is what it is. I don't know. It's nuts. It's nuts. So I will end it with this. I also was watching, and I completely forgot that Martha Stewart had a version of The Apprentice. And they were showing a lot of the previews because, of course, fucking Donald Trump's got to pop his ass in there. And so she had a version, and Bethany Frankel was a contestant. And then later, Bethany Frankel on her talk show had Martha on. And the interview is amazing because Martha just doesn't give a fuck. And just like, she thinks Bethany is beneath her and just doesn't care. And it's just such a beautiful clip. Here, I'll play it for you.
Are you still smarting from that? You have your own show now, this fabulous show.
No, I just wanted to, it was such a big moment in my life. I wanted to I wanted to know what you were feeling because I felt like you didn't like me, to be honest with you.
Well, you weren't so likable then.
Oh, and that's what I want to.
No, you weren't. You were a pest. You were a pest. She was. She was a pest, and you were, so out there in front of everybody, And now you can be that. You're the host. Good.
Like, I fucking love it because, Bethany was on it, and Bethany's like, I felt like you didn't like me. And Martha's like, I didn't. Like, you were contestant on a reality TV show. Like, Martha just doesn't give a fuck. And that's what I love about her. And I love that she was 81 on the cover of Sports Illustrated. She's still doing it. Martha Stewart is still fucking doing it. And I love Martha so much. She has been so... Like, I fucking love her. I have so much respect for her. She's there is a level of her in my artwork, and there's a level of her in my persona and my branding and all that stuff. And Martha really laid the blueprint that I've kind of I've taken bits and pieces of it and incorporated in me. Like, there's not really one person I'm like, okay, let's do this. But Martha was, that documentary was very big because I was like, okay, there is a level of Martha Stewart in me, and I love Martha Stewart. So with that, I'm going to end it. I think that is everything that I have. But yeah, so it's just, was Mothman on the Key Bridge? I don't know, but it's a question I'm going to find out. Make sure you like and subscribe to me on all socials. Go to my website, ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. Check out a lot of my new photography and a lot of my new artwork that I've been working on. And with that, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed. I have some amazing guests. I'm actually in the process of working on I am having Ursula and Stoney come on together. I'm working on that for Thursday, so that'll be out next week. And with that, guys, peace out. Back up to the UFO.